now on Hannity and Colmes, the author of The Savage Nation, Saving America from the Liberal Assault on Our Borders, Language, and Culture. Those evil liberals. Michael Savage. Michael has an extremely successful radio talk show. Your book was really entertaining to me, and I think it was a great piece of satire. I think you're secretly a liberal who does this from the inside, like an inside job. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the truth is I'm probably more liberal than you in the sense that I really believe in liberty. But you liberals have become the, what shall I say? Yeah. You want to control everything. We want freedom, and you guys want control.
I am you liberals. So let me show you one of the things you say in the book, which I find interesting. To fight only the Al-Qaeda scum is to miss the terrorist network operating within our own borders. Who are these traitors? Every rotten radical left-winger in this country.
Absolutely.
That too. I'd like you to explain the context. I don't think you're calling all liberals traitors, are you?
No, just about 90% of them. I'm talking about the hardcore ACLU membership,
You gotta be kidding me.
The National Lawyers Guild. Look, Alan, this is serious business. We can joke all we want. You're probably a nice guy. I'd love to have a drink with you. We're facing an enemy, the Islamo-fascist movement.
Yeah.
It is Hitler in a headscarf. They have declared openly they want to destroy our civilization. They don't care how many of them die. I'm not talking about all of Islam. Let's be clear. I'm talking about whatever the percentage is. They want to destroy our civilization. I think liberals and conservatives should come together, not fight each other. But when you see a woman like that lawyer who went into the prison with the blind sheik and was passing messages for him, what does that tell you about the radical fringe of the liberal movement in America? They are traitors and they're dangerous.
Michael, there is a danger. There are people plotting and planning and scheming as we speak to strike us again. And there is no greater goal than to preserve, protect, and defend freedom and liberty for our children and grandchildren. And that's why I like your book so much. It's a great call to arms.
You know, last night I watched the National Geographic. They're hunting the lions, and they're hunting the water buffalo.
Yeah.
When one of the buffalo got pulled out by the lions, they bit the water buffalo in the nose. They bit her in the behind. They started pulling pieces out of her, this beautiful, strong animal. And they could only bring her down by going for her vulnerable parts. And then once they got her down on the ground, kaput. It was over, my friend. This country is like a giant water buffalo. Yeah. We've been hit in the nose. They're going for our anus. They're going for our vitals. I don't understand why anybody would want to support the civil liberties of the sleepers in America. That's who I'm talking about, Alan.
Yeah. No, well, Alan, this is Sean now, Michael. By the way,
I'm sorry.
This is a terrific read, Michael. Honestly, you really should be proud of this. It's a great piece of work. It is a call to arms. It's a wake-up call, and I hope people heed your warnings. I like how you started out from the Bronx to broadcasting. And you talk a lot about your immigrant roots. I do the same thing in my book. And then later on you talk about Elian, who's the only immigrant the Democrats didn't like. I thought the way you tied that together at one end of the book to the other was a great way to do it.
That was a tragic story, which most Americans have forgotten they shouldn't. The snapshot is lost. Jack-booted thugs, black uniforms, loaded machine guns, the frightened fisherman, little Elian. Now, why would a Clinton administration, which has opened the borders to millions of illegal aliens and said welcome, pick on one immigrant only? That little boy clung to a raft. The entire machinery of the Clinton administration went after him and deported him to that Stalinist hellhole called Cuba.
We got to take a break. But that's because his biological father wanted to be with his son. Family values.
Going to be
uniting families.
Oh, so suddenly the left wants family values
the
when
left
it
wants
applies
the father
in a
to have
communist
rights
country.
Too. We're going to take a break. We'll continue.
How about the rights of fathers in America?
All right, we'll continue with Michael Savage. Don't forget, log on to FoxNews.com. You can become a Fox fan. And while you're there, be sure to check out the Hannity and Colmes hats, mugs, and T-shirts.
Can they erase Hannity or Colmes?
In case you forgot to give any gifts over the holidays. We'll be right back.
And we continue now with soon-to-be best-selling author Michael Savage. Well, I'm going to put this on my website, Hannity.com. It's a great book, Mike.
Thank you.
One of the things that we talked about this earlier in the program, I know you've discussed the fee here's, this issue of illegal immigration. Our borders are wide open for America's enemies to cross over anytime they want. And why, for the life of me, Republicans and Democrats, we now have illegal aliens working at the White House. Why we can't understand that we can never win the war on terror as long as our borders remain that vulnerable.
As an immigrant son, let me say this. The immigrants of the past are not the immigrants of today. People came here from all over the world to become Americans. People come here today to cash in on the system. Now, hold on. The liberal line is they come here to work. True, many of them do. Wherever you look, they're toiling.
Many of them do. You're right.
God bless America. But how do you explain the fact that 30% of all of our prisoners are illegal aliens? They didn't come here to work, my friend. They came here to work the system. They committed felonies. 30%. I'm not making this figure up. We are being inundated. We're being invaded. Republicans want them for cheap labor. Democrats want them for cheap votes. That's the problem.
But wait a minute. But both of them are pandering for votes because both understand that there's a powerful voting bloc and a constituency that they cater to. And meanwhile, you know, we could spend all this money on national defense. We can beef up our intelligence gathering capabilities. But our enemies know that anytime they get a hold of a suitcase-sized nuke, they walk across our borders, and there's nothing America can do about it, and nobody seems to have the political will to stop it.
But it's not walk across the border anymore.
Climb across, fly across, whatever you want.
4 weeks ago, President Bush signed an executive order. Trucks from Mexico, access to every road in America. Who's inspecting the trucks?
Yeah, well, he's doing that for political purposes, too. Michael, I'm a concerned about some things I've read about you and heard tapes of you say.
Good.
Referring to Madeleine Albright as Madam Brisket, talking about Joe Lieberman throwing his bagel in the ring.
Yes.
Referring to ACLU attorney, the mythical Mark Nobody Berg. There are some people who might infer anti-Semitism from those comments. Could you put that in a context that makes sense?
Yes, I'd be very happy to. There's no greater supporter of Israel and the Jewish people than the man you're looking at, number one. And number two, I'm proud to tell you that both I and my children would have qualified for admission to Auschwitz.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but can you understand why some people might be upset by those comments?
Yeah, they should be upset. They should be upset that people of Jewish background don't seem to get it. They still back liberal causes when liberalism threatens their survival.
But those phrases, people could read into that something that seems a little ugly.
My job is to wake people up. Hearken, awake. And my job is to make them understand that sticking to tail fins, 1959, may cause us the end of America as we know it.
All right,
the Jewish people have been targeted. These people must be in the vanguard, not in the posterior of the movement to save the Jewish people.
You said Harkin. I don't think you meant support for Tom Harkin. Let me show you something you said about, you have a great story in the book about how to make the best meatball. Here's a piece of the book. Thanks mainly to the Democrats, the libs, and the communazis who rule the courts, America's meatballs are small, hard, and tasteless. In other words, we have replicated the Swedish meatball, which is what socialism brings. You want to blame the liberals for meatballs? Is that the liberals' fault?
I'm a part-time chef, and I want to tell you something. The Italian restaurant I go to in San Francisco, I get big, fluffy meatballs, the way they used to be made in the 50s. But you look at the modern meatball
That's
today...
That's the liberals' fault?
Yes. Yes. They're small,
Go get them,
mean,
Mike. Come on.
They're tasteless. This is an example of what... That's a Swedish meatball. That's what socialism does to a meatball.
How is that liberals'
fault? It's what they've done to our country.
I don't get the connection. I'll have to, I'd have to maybe...
Hey, Michael.
Read a little more. I don't know. I don't get it.
Congratulations.
Listen, guys, we're all joking around. Remember, borders, language, culture. We are on the good ship America. If this ship continues to take on water, we all go down together.
I agree. The greatest country God gave man. This is going to be a best-selling book. Michael Savage, Savage Nation. Mike, good to see you. Continued success, buddy.
Here, Alan, your gift.
Thank you. Oh, great. Thanks. Put it in the mail.
That is all the time we have left this evening. Stay tuned for the On the Record. Greta comes up next. We'll be back tomorrow night. Thank you for being with us. Have a good night.